tough defense. And I think Vogel has always preached that, as Fisher said. And I think now you're seeing them starting to trend to being, tough on the perimeter. They know they don't have that backline defense anymore. So I was very impressed with not only Shooter in particular. I mean, he's almost a splitting image of what Rondo used to be, and he's providing that same type of impact on the floor. So, yeah, their defense is amazing.
And James, as you know, like it takes a while to get those legs into it early in the season. And I think you're starting to see players now, their conditioning is improving. They're getting their base under them a little bit more, the activity level. And I think a veteran team like this, from my experience, it was a lot more fun to go on the road and get road wins at this point. Like winning at home, you almost expect to win. You're the better team. But when you can go into somebody else's building and get a win, that's a little bit more invigorating for a veteran player.
Do you think it's still the same, though, without the fans? Because oftentimes it is silencing the crowd on the road. The fans aren't there right now. But do you still think that is the same?
Not the same, but there is some similarity still with knowing you're going into somebody else's building. You're not sleeping at home. You're away from your family. It's us against the world. And that mentality still carries, I think, in these situations. But, yeah, that shutting the fans up is quite the joy.
I think they're creating their own thing. I think they know the fans aren't going to be there. Because if you watch the individual benches now, they're getting the same, effect if it's the fans was there. Maybe not the noise and maybe not all that, but they're creating their own little thing.
The energy.
Yeah, they're creating their own little energy, and it seems to be working for them.
Keep. The Grizz are without their young star in Ja Morant. The Rookie of the Year landed awkwardly while contesting a shot in Brooklyn on Monday. He suffered a grade 2 ankle sprain and is expected to miss 3 to 5 weeks. It looked much worse at the time of the injury as they took him back in a wheelchair. Morant is averaging 26 points and 6 assists this season. Definitely do not want to see that, especially from a young star like Ja. The Grizz, guys, won that game in Brooklyn and split the next 2, so the Lakers cannot afford to look past them. For the latest on the world champs, let's go down the hall and around the corner to join Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Mike.
Hey there, Allie. First of all, I was impressed with the way that Big Game vacated the space when Fish went over the board. Right? I mean, he's almost like he's used to having to get out of the paint when Magic's driving, right, Big Game?
How smooth was I?
I mean, always smooth. Always smooth, whether looking or talking or anything, including vacating the space.
Got to get Fish to the board.
That's exactly. All right, so guys, we spoke to Frank Vogel a couple moments ago, and the first thing I wanted to ask him about is Marc Gasol's return to Memphis. Obviously significant, especially because he hasn't had the chance to actually do it yet. The Raptors did not play in Memphis. They were scheduled to after the bubble, but of course that game ended up happening in the bubble, I should say. So here's what Frank Vogel said about how this return might impact Marc Gasol, and also gives us an injury update as to who's going to play and who's not in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have thought about it. Obviously, he spent pretty much his whole career here before moving on to Toronto. So, I'm sure this is a special place for him. It'll be a little bit unusual being back here, but without fans, So I don't think it's going to be one of those deals where obviously he gets a big welcome. Although I think we're having some fans here tonight, right? Yeah, there'll be minimal fans here. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a warm welcome by the people that are here, and hopefully it's a great game for him.
Hey, anything on KCP and his ankle?
Yeah, he still has some soreness. We're going to hold him out tonight, and he'll still be considered day to day. Hopefully he plays in the next Memphis game, but we'll see how he continues to respond to treatment.
Frank, do you know who you're going to have start in his place?
We're going to start Kuzma.
Coming into this season, there was so much talk externally about LeBron pacing himself and his usage, and he would take nights off and all of this to kind of obviously after the short off season, which we've talked so much about. His minutes are down just a tick from last season. How much of that is intentional, and how much is pacing him? Is LeBron pacing himself part of what you guys talk about, what the coaching staff talks about, and how much has that been part of the early start of the season?
Yeah, we've had extensive talks about it with the coaching staff, the medical team, with LeBron, with our front office. And, it's really a day-to-day, game-to-game type of thing. We just want to be responsible with his minutes more than have any kind of hard cap. And, in terms of, whether he's going to play, every game, the plan will be for him to play. you know, and you know, if he has an injury that's acting up or whatever, and he needs to sit, then we'll sit him out. But if he feels good, he wants to be in there, and that's sort of how we're going to proceed going forward.
All right, so there's Frank Vogel. By the way, big game. If you didn't vacate the paint and Kareem wanted a post touch, what would he say? Was that a problem?
Nah, I'd find myself on the bench in about 30 seconds.
Real fast.
Yeah, Kareem, one look to Rouse, get him out.
Fair enough.
I knew better.
Yeah, legend. All right.
Mike, that's what you call a team player.
Yeah,
hey,
I
man.
knew better.
All
He's
day,
got
every
rings
day.
for a reason.
You don't mess with the sky hook, man.
Thanks so much, Mike. Have a good
Later,
show,
Mike.
of course. The Lakers and Grizzlies are coming up here at 3 o'clock. Grit and Grind is back in Memphis. Marc Gasol and Lakers assistant and former Grizzlies head coach Lionel Hollins back in the building. The two went to playoffs 3 times under Hollins. And later on Access, we'll count the President's three-point play as we bring in our Lakers insider, Mike Bresnahan. 3 things that you were looking forward to in this game, and you want to start with LBJ. What has he shown you in this early season?
I'm a little surprised, if not impressed, that he's played every game. You know, I was one of the many guys who figured, all right, he'll play on opening day, of course, Christmas, of course, and then maybe start lateraling a game here and there because it is, after all, the shortest offseason ever in the NBA. But no, there he is. He's played them all. He's expected to play again today. That number right there is key, 32.2 minutes. That's about 10% under what he averaged over his first 2 years with the Lakers. So if Frank Vogel can keep him in that range, I think that's a good thing for both LeBron and the Lakers, kind of keep the minutes down, kind of cheat a little bit in that sense, because 2 minutes a game spread out over 72 games, that's a lot of playing time right there. So I think if LeBron can conserve in-game stuff, maybe he'll keep playing game after game after game.
No doubt. From one vet to the next, Marc Gasol is returning to familiar territory.
Yeah, you know, I wish there were fans there. It's always great to hear the response when a very valued player comes back to his old stomping grounds. And he was there in Memphis for 10 and a half years, a 3-time All-Star, got the Grizzlies the furthest they ever went in the playoffs, 2013 Western Conference Finals. And, of course, he was traded to Toronto February of 2019. But such a great guy, and the people of Memphis have such respect for guys like him and Mike Conley. So far with the Lakers, you see the numbers there, not real eye-opening. The field goal percentage is nice, 67%. He's also 50% from three-point range. It's just there hasn't been a lot of volume for Mark. You know, he's had 2 scoreless games as well. But, you know, his value as a leader and a defender in the post cannot be understated enough. And, of course, those type of dimes right there. You don't get those from many NBA centers, really, in this generation.
Absolutely. It's been fun to watch, though, as you mentioned. Not a whole lot of time just yet. The Lakers' opponent for the next 2, Grizzlies. What do we need to know about them?
Really banged up right now. Really bad. You know, Ja Morant, you mentioned it earlier, had the big ankle sprain last week. He might be out till February. That's not a good sign. It was going to be a breakout season for him. He scored 44 in the opener against San Antonio. And there's 2 of them right there, I believe. This is a guy who, you know, so much future ahead of him in this game. So much strong play on the way. We're going to have to put the pause on that. Also, Jaren Jackson Jr., one of their talented big men. He's been out since the summer because of knee surgery. So we're seeing a couple of Pac-12 guys, you know, trying to lead the way, including Dylan Brooks, a pretty good player at Oregon. He's scoring a lot, but not shooting real well, and a lot of turnovers for him. Maybe LeBron rests in the second game of this 2-game situation here in Memphis. Not a real strong team right now.
The one thing you do know, though, which is something that Mark established when he was there for those 10 and a half seasons, they will play hard no matter what.
Yeah.
It's the Memphis Grizzlies.
They're struggling on defense, though, a little bit. I think they're 25th in the league, giving up about 116 a game. Not real strong there.
See if the Lake Show can take advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
Well done, as always. We're gearing up for Lakers and Grizzlies at 3 o'clock. Anthony Davis coming off a monster game on Friday. 34 points, 11 boards for the Brow against the Spurs.